concern, and so these companies operating there, do you know much about the situation? I know workers here have protections and we have safety standards. Do you know much about the situation with paper there?
Well, I do know that a couple of years ago, when I was in the mill, they showed us pictures of brand new machinery in Asia, and it's the size of our biggest machine, and they have one right after the other, and they were showing us this, and look, this is the new competition. First thing I noticed was that the gentleman that was operating the machine in a pair of flip-flops and a pair of shorts. No safety equipment at all, no steel toe, no hearing protection, no eye protection, not even gloves, and that's how they operate. Got information that the Chinese workers, they average $131 a month in pay, and that they basically work, they get 2 days off a month, and they live right on the compound in 6x8 rooms. It's the information that we've received. I mean, I think other people can address a little bit more on the human rights piece.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Lawson, I was wondering, and you might not know this, but where Sappy and Newpage have filed this, can other mills join in after the fact, or is it, you know, only these two companies? Can other people file as intervener status?
The paper that is basically the Newpage mill, the Sappy mill, and the Appleton paper mill in Wisconsin have been targeted because they make this paper. To tell you the truth, it's not even the Rumford mill. It's a mill in Luke, Maryland. But Rumford, the Rumford management have worked very close with us on this. And they told us, listen, if Luke, Maryland loses those orders, we're going to take the orders from Rumford because it's a higher cost producer. And so even though Rumford doesn't directly make this paper, they're going to be the ones impacted. And what's happened in the past, we've filed petitions in the past on the paper, especially down in Luke, Maryland. We have to prove what the damages are going to be. So a big part of this is the video interviews of talking to people, not only the workers, but when you go around, you start talking to small business owners that when they look at their business, they can, you know, over 50% of their business is directly with the mill and the employees. They realize what's going to happen to their business. And whether it be with retirees for financial planning, or whether it's the supply up to the mill and to the loggers in the area, if something happens to that mill, their business is going to be in trouble. The indirect impact is where you really, when people really realize what's happening.
Oh, I don't disagree with you. I think it's a lot further than that. I mean, we're in the budget crisis here in the state, and if we lose a big industry like that, one of those mills go down, that's just gonna add more burden to our budget crisis here. But, I was looking at your other targeted towns, and I understand where you're going with that. But is any of these towns, obviously Madawaska, Lincoln, Westbrook, are any of these towns in the same situation with the paper, or is it basically just these? I mean, I understand that what you said, that if you were to fix this, then, you know, the other types of paper might be in jeopardy, but most likely other types of paper are in jeopardy anyways. Eventually, if they're not now, they're gonna be.
Right.
But for the type of paper we're talking about right now, are these other targeted mill towns, are any of those towns likely to be affected also?
Not for this type of paper.
Okay.
But once again, once you explain this out to the people in those towns, they understand that they do get it, that if all of a sudden they cannot produce as much as the paper that is covered in the petition, they will be making something else with it. I mean, then they're not going to let those machines sit idle.
So have you had, or Are you scheduled for any of these towns, or?
No, we're putting together the resolutions. We're basically doing the homework first.
Mhm.
We've just hit every one of those towns this past week with the letters for the people to sign, whether it be the members or anyone that they come in contact with, that they can have sign on to the letters to our senators and congressmen and the Trade Commission and the Department of Commerce. And then we would go in, once you get the awareness starting to build, then we would go in to the towns to seek the petition.
Everything different?
So thank you for coming, and I know this has been an issue for a while. What you're looking for is people to sign on to the resolution, making the free trade. This is gonna only affect coated paper, is that correct?
Yes. What
So-
we're looking for is support of the paper case. I mean, both our senators and congressmen came out writing letters to the department, to the International Trade Commission in support of this case and the impact, the negative impact it would have to Maine if nothing was done about the paper being dumped into the country.
So even, like Lincoln, I'm gonna use Lincoln for example, because I'm very familiar with it. Their tissue market right now isn't affected by this, but if they sign on to the resolution, I mean, we all know eventually it's gonna be, because China's just in the growing pains of their paper industry. So by signing on to this resolution, you're just looking for support from all paper industries.
We're looking for
On this.
support statewide.
Yeah.
And it's easier to explain to a community that knows about the paper industry. I mean, our own people become our best advocates in this.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, and it's a great thing. It needs to be brought to the front.
The thing that it just impresses the heck out of me, and I've been at my mill, like I said, for 22 years, and I was involved with our union, is that the companies and the union have recognized this issue and have banded together to fight this together. And that's what this whole group that I work for is all about. It has to be jointly, and when the paper companies and the USW jointly filed this, it just sends it just lets everybody know that it's really time to step up and fight.
Yep, thank you for doing what you're doing.
I was curious too, I wouldn't wanna bog down anything that you're doing, but I mean, obviously, the people that were affected by this, studied the coated paper market, but I mean, is there any evidence that says that the tissue, or any other paper isn't getting affected by dumping? Because I mean, we're hearing, global market and foreign competition all the time from all these mills. And I'm sure they have.
Every mill has been impacted in some form by imports, whether it be from the European market, but with the downturn in the economy right now, it's kind of hard to judge what's really hitting you. I do not have the information that I could speak with any certainty on that. I mean, it's believe me, I've been buried in this one since September, basically trying to just figure it all out. And
Yeah, no, and well, you should. I'm just curious. I mean,
but it's something that we can always look at. It's you don't know where the next inroads are going to be made that we're going to have to look at to be prepared for. I think some of the work that we're doing here in state here and out in Wisconsin and Michigan is really going to help us in the future to be more agile when this does come up, to have an action plan all ready to go and just know what we have to do. And by educating people about this case, it'll be easier to get them to sign on when the next one comes.